Good morning and welcome to Monday. Yep, you got to do it. You might as well just get up and watch us and we'll get you off to a good start because everybody's got to do the Monday.
We all gotta.
We all gotta. We all gotta. How are you this morning?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah? Rehearsal?
Yeah. No, I performed on Friday.
Apparently you were quite hilarious.
Was I?
Yes, I've heard.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yes.
And Saturday was a home day. Mm-hmm. And Sunday was rehearsal all day.
Awesome.
Dancing and singing with the Addams family.
Dancing and singing and dancing.
Yeah, what about you? You went to Espanoodles.
I went to Espanoodle and saw my mom. She's doing great.
Is she?
And we visited my aunt, who is 90.
Her Aunt Yahoo.
My Aunt Yahoo. My Aunt Teresa.
She's 90?
90 years old. Lives by herself still in her house.
Bless her.
Yeah, her daughters take good care of her. All her kids do. She's got
That's the way to
sons
do it.
and daughters who are just phenomenal to her.
Stay in your own home and your
and
kids
you know
help you out.
what? Sharp as a tack. I was trying to, she was talking about when she used to go to work in Toronto, and I'm like, I didn't even, you don't know somebody, right?
Yeah.
Before she got married. Yeah, I went to work in Toronto. Like a couple of times she left and went.
Wonder what year that was. She's 90. Good heavens.
Yeah, what a brave girl.
Must have stories.
Yeah, unfortunately I missed all my cousins though.
Why?
Well, because they took her out for brunch and stuff, and my mom and I went to visit, and they had all just left.
Oh,
so,
was it like a birthday for her or something? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, it was her 90th birthday?
Yes.
Oh, I understand now. I didn't catch that part of it.
Yes. So some sad news with Kobe Bryant.
Whoa.
Oh my God, it's such a shock, isn't it? It just, and his poor daughter, my goodness, his wife must be just...
She has 3, the wife still has 3 at home with a newborn? It's awful. We actually went out after the rehearsal last night, and the young lady who was working at the restaurant said that she had to change the channels. She couldn't. Everything was Kobe Bryant, and they were showing pictures. And
too much.
She got overwhelmed, and she got weepy, and she said, "I had to change the channel and I put curling on and stuff. I couldn't watch it anymore."
Police are actually saying that there are too many people at the site. Because it's a pilgrimage for them, but they're saying you have to be really careful not to, because it's so early in the investigation. But the fog was so heavy. There's a story coming up in our newscast. The fog was so heavy that police helicopters weren't flying.
Wow.
So yeah.
And again, right? Honestly, one of the first things I thought of after that was about all the victims from the Afghanistan plane that went down in Iran.
Yeah.
And about how, when someone famous dies tragically like that, and I'm not discounting anything about how horrific it was, but it does make you think, man, there were a lot of lives are lost to things like that, and it brings it all home.
It does.
The tragedy. Everybody has a life and a story, and it's just and it just so happened that this guy had an amazing career as well. Yeah,
he did, and he was so well respected. And
can you imagine the love that's pouring out?
His last game scored 60 points. 60 points in his last game before he retired.
I also heard that one of his last tweets went to LeBron James congratulating him on beating his record.
I just watched a video of LeBron James coming off an airplane and walking up to a woman, and you can see his shoulders. He is just weeping.
We're not really getting their Mondays or Monday morning off to a happy start.
Well, it's hard to, right? You have to market. You have to talk about it, and you have to, so many people in Los Angeles are talking about how he labeled Los Angeles, the Lakers. He was the Lakers and brought football or baseball up to basketball up to such a high standard in Los Angeles. So it's a huge loss. And of all the things,
he was going to coach at a basketball camp with his daughter. Wow.
Yeah, and his daughter was right into basketball, his 13-year-old.
Okay, so I was in rehearsal, but you were not. You watched the Grammys.
I did. And speaking of Kobe, boy, did they do
a thing for him?
An awesome job. Alicia Keys, she is the queen. She hosted.
Right, this is her second year, isn't it?
She handled it because there were actually some last minute changes that took place because of Kobe's death. They wanted to include him, and some people on the red carpet, for instance, were not stopping to do interviews because they were so upset. They didn't want to address it. They didn't know how to celebrate music and be mourning at the same time. So it was very, very It was very, very sad. But she kept it so like, we need love and we need to support each other. This is a time. And throughout the whole show, and she was calm and classy. And then she sang with Boys to Men in tribute to Kobe Bryant.
Whoa.
Oh my word. Seriously, she just started a cappella and it just was phenomenal.
You said there was another really dramatic moment with Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato, yeah, she sang the song that she had written just before she went back into rehab. So this is her comeback song, and it is called...
She had to take a second start.
She had to take it, yeah. It's called Anyone, and she started the song and had to stop and start again. And when they came close to her face, she had tears just rolling down her face. The song called Anyone, and it was so emotional and so much a comeback song. She you know, the song Anyone is anyone listening and nobody's hearing me. And, you know, yeah, very.
I saw a clip that showed from the beginning and then how she built to.
Oh, she just
belting it out at the end.
She owned it, man.
Sang
it was
through
strong. And I was saying to you, I don't know how people can do that. Well, obviously it was difficult for her because she had to start again, but then to pick it up and to be crying at the same time and just strong.
Who was the other performer, Luann, that you mentioned who sang a tribute to her father and went down
Camila Cabello.
Yes.
My word, she was singing
Sounds like
a song.
such a dramatic evening.
Yeah, it was.
Goodness.
It was lovely. Very, very emotional. Camila Cabello sang a song called First Man, and in behind her a video was running of her black and white video of her and her dad and how close they'd been over the years.
Really?
And as she was singing, she was walking down the stairs and she walked to the front row and her dad was sitting there just bawling.
Wow.
She like such a beautiful tribute.
There were a couple other tributes to the family I have here. I read that Ariana Grande, she performed live, and I guess back in her mother and father divorced, and I guess it was really awful. It was not, and she and her father became estranged. His name was Edward Butera, and anyway, so in one of her songs, the song that she performed, she changed the lyric. The original lyric is, "One day I'll walk down the aisle holding hands with my mama. I'll be thinking of my dad because she grew from the drama." So her father made his mother stronger, her mother stronger, but she changed it because she's reconciled with the father now. And so she's saying, "One day I'll walk down the aisle holding hands with my mama. I'll be thinking of my dad because he's really awesome," which I think is a terrible lyric, and it doesn't rhyme with mama and drama. However, nice that they've reconciled.
Well, that is nice that she
paid a little tribute to her dad. And then I guess also Tyler, the creator, brought his mother on stage when he won.
Yes, you should have seen her. She was just so cute. What a doll.
Yeah.
Just thrilled. And Usher paid tribute to Prince.
Oh,
Did
really?
a whole bunch of Prince songs. Man, that guy can move. Holy moly. And wore the high-waisted pants like Prince always did, you know. Did a lot of the dance moves that Prince was famous for doing.
Right on.
And sang it. Man, so many good performances. And that's what I love about the Grammy show, right? It's about the awards, of course, but it's also about, you know, the Jonas Brothers coming back together, and they knocked it out of the park.
Was Bieber there?
No, I didn't
wasn't.
see him.
Okay, I was wrong then. I thought that he was going to be. What about Bublé?
I didn't see Bublé, but I went to bed around 10:30.
Oh, okay.
So,
Billie Eilish, holy everything. Billie Eilish and Lizzo.
Lizzo opened the show, and man, she is a force. Woo.
Like Billie Eilish, album of the year, record of the year, song of the year with her brother that she brought up on stage.
Yeah.
What's this one? New artist. These are all, Billie Eilish won every single one of those, and then Lizzo, pop solo performance. Billie Eilish, pop vocal album.
Yeah,
like, honestly.
And she had these long
over.
green fingernails on, and she seems like she's very, very funky.
So Tyler, the creator, won for rap album. That's when he brought his mother up on stage. And Lizzo also won for urban contemporary album. Hey, Nipsey Hussle won posthumously for rap performance.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
There was a big honor to him, too. There was a big number.
And then some some good stalwarts, people that are still... Freaking Willie Nelson, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Country solo performance winner, Willie Nelson.
I didn't see him
over Blake Shelton and Ashley McBride, Tanya
That's
Tucker.
crazy. Tanya Tucker was there.
Country album.
Yeah, Tanya's a little, I found.
She also won for her
Vocally.
songwriting for her country song, Bring My Flowers Now.
But it's lovely to see her come back again. I mean, she was 12, I think.
When she first won,
Yeah,
really that
when
long
she-
ago?
oh, yeah.
Michelle Obama won a Grammy Award.
Huh?
Her spoken word album for her novel, her book, Becoming.
So she just did an audiobook?
She did an audiobook and she won for spoken word.
Really? Mm-hmm. I'd love to read that book. I have to get my hands on it.
Sarah Bareilles, American Roots Performance,
Yes.
and Mark Anthony for Tropical Latin album. So there's and of
lots.
course, again, John Williams, composer for Star Wars. How many Grammys can John Williams win for the Star Wars franchise?
Unbelievable.
He did it again for instrumental composition.
One of the other numbers that I really thought was cute was Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton. Shelton singing together.
Right.
Singing their love song, Nobody But You. Oh my gosh. It was just adorable.
I'm sorry I missed it, but I'm sure I can catch a lot of it on.
I'm sure you can.
On YouTube or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Hey, so you know what happened? We were going to do, we did, a feature for the show on this thing called Construction. It's such a great idea. It's a team building kind of thing. They're looking for, it's one way the United Way can collect non-perishable items in a fun way. So the idea is to get a team together, whether you're a classroom, a workplace team, a social group, whatever, and you're going to get a whole bunch of non-perishable items. You have to collect them all, and then you're going to go to the station mall and you're going to build structures out of your canned goods. It's called Construction, and it's all in support of Harvest Algoma and the United Way.
Awesome.
So I went to do a story on that, but man, I haven't been to Harvest Algoma in a while. Things have been booming over there, so many new developments. So that's today's show is all about Harvest Algoma, Construction certainly, but also we get a tour of the facility.
Awesome.
Wait until you see what's gone on down there under the leadership of Mike Delfrey and his amazing team at Harvest Algoma for the United Way. So that's what's on the show. Plus Luann has the news, and we've got more banter for you too. So please stay with us on this Monday morning. We'll be right back.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room, create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
Angelo, it's me, Vito. Imbecile, your brother. Listen, you bring 10 gallons of flat eggshell white paint.
This past year, we've been celebrating our 65th anniversary, dating back to services originating in our community in 1954, which is quite some time ago. It's been a great opportunity this past year to recognize the pioneers, the stakeholders that worked tirelessly to create what we are today. I'm grateful for everything that the families 65 years ago and the people that assembled the organization have done in order for us to achieve the success that we're experiencing 65 years later.
This is ONNtv.
Well, that was like Groundhog Day. Every time they got to that one part of the interview, it started again. Computers, modern technology, live streaming. Welcome to it. Okay, so what the guys have done in the booth is they've reloaded that interview. We're going to watch that in its entirety, starting from the beginning and right through to the end. But in the meantime, I think it's an appropriate moment to say in 1880, Thomas Edison patented the electric incandescent lamp.
Wow.
We come a long way.
Look what you started.
I know, Thomas. In 1880, Thomas Edison patented the lamp, and I think that's a good thing because, Trump was all concerned. He was he said we have to protect our patents. Someone has to watch out for Thomas Edison for things like the light bulb and the wheel. Did you catch that?
He said that?
He said
No.
It was 5,000 BC. When did the wheel get invented? 5,000 BC?
Oh my word!
He thought America invented the wheel and we need to protect the patent. And by the way, I don't think since 1880 Thomas Edison's out a whole whack of money.
No. Wow.
He's been dead.
Kinda.
Anyway.
That's crazy.
Modern technology now has changed. We have more than incandescent light bulbs. We have computers. And if Luann can let me know, in your ear, are we ready to go?
Yes, are we ready to go, gentlemen?
I think we're ready to go with this.
No, we're not ready to go.
Okay, I'm going to tell you some more stories. Now, this is kind of a sad story, but it brings to our attention how things really went for the people who first inhabited North America, this continent.
Ah, yes, this is interesting.
1825, ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Congress approved the Indian Territory Act or whatever. So, present-day Oklahoma, the entire state of Oklahoma, in 1825, U.S. Congress said, okay, this is going to become our land. See ya. And they made every Eastern Indian tribe, this became the Trail of Tears, had to leave their land. They were forced. It was a forced relocation. They all had to leave what is now Oklahoma.
My goodness.
This is what's...
Jeez. Well, we haven't learned any lessons from that either, have we?
No, and then also today, 1945. Man, the Soviet troops liberated... 1945. When did the war end?
45.
Well, this is when the Soviet troops liberated Auschwitz and Birkenau concentration camps in Poland.
That's just absolutely...
And in 1975... it was the ceasefire for the U.S. and Vietnam War. Did you know that the Vietnam War was the longest U.S. war and the longest military draft in history? The Vietnam War, which they weren't even really...
Yeah.
That was all, and the reason that all happened, for anybody who doesn't know, in the 1970s, it was because they were so afraid of communism. They thought that if communism took hold in Vietnam, it would just spread. That poor country, though, originally owned by France, then taken over by Japan. Then when the World War ended, France tried to get them back again. And they're like, then was another fight with France.
Yeah, it's just, they've had a tough go.
Anyway, so then it was all about communism.
On another Hollywood note, Selena Gomez is finally talking a little bit more. She recently did an NPR interview. She was Justin Bieber's like on and off girlfriend for a long time. She actually very heavily insinuated emotional abuse from Bieber. The song "Lose You to Love Me," she talks about how that is absolutely because she felt like after they broke up, she had so much more to say, and as she's gotten older and more mature, she said, this song has let me say what I never got to say to him.
Oh.
So apparently NPR reached out to Bieber, as did Entertainment Tonight, and no response.
No, I would imagine not.
I would think, you know what, Biebs.
What, you're going to address that, then you're going to tick off your wife?
Well, right? I don't know. It's like, how long's it been? Gosh.
You know what?
Selena is just, but you know what? I get it. She felt like it ended and she had no say. So she had all this stuff she needed to get out of her. So she wrote the song.
Right.
Lose You to Love Me.
Okay, but I don't know. I just feel like, did she have to tell us that I don't know what I mean?
She says, and I'm trying to handle it and be very classy about it, and I'm like,
well, you just talked about it.
You just told everyone that he emotionally abused you, so.
You know, back in the day when people like, he flew his Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see a total eclipse of the sun. Come on, Carly Carly Simon?
Oh, yeah.
She wrote about the person who flew their Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun, and everyone was like, it was Warren Beatty, it was so-and-so. She never said who that was about. I like those days.
Classic.
Keep your mouth. Don't kiss and tell.
Don't kiss and tell.
Okay.
You know what? We're going to take a commercial break.
Yeah.
We're going to do the news, and then we're going to come back with that interview. Hopefully it's still loading.
Oh, they're back to
and
backs.
stuff. Yeah, backs to backs.
Okay.
So please stay tuned. We're live, and we love it.
Clap your hands. If you're live and you know what, clap your hands. See you after this for the news.
This is On TV.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, extra baked?
No. Could I get a burger with a side of fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. If you smoked weed, wait at least 4 hours before getting behind the wheel, or don't drive at all if you're new to it, have eaten it, or if you've mixed it with alcohol.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
Imagine knowing about incidents, closures, and roadwork all before starting your trip. Ontario 511 lets you know before you go. You can get real-time information directly from the Ministry of Transportation. Because the more you know, the easier it is for you to go. And spend the time doing the things that matter most.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Watching him make those shots and bring those championships to LA, that touched the hearts of so many of us fans.
The helicopter carrying Kobe Bryant and 8 others that crashed into a hillside outside Los Angeles was flying in foggy conditions considered dangerous enough that local police agencies grounded their choppers. All 9 people on board died.
We do know there was an issue of visibility and a low ceiling. The actual conditions at the time of impact, that is still yet to be determined, and we'll have that with the NTSB shortly. Were your helicopters grounded? We had none operating in the area at the time.
Why? Because of the weather?
Because of the weather. We're now faced with, I guess, well-wishers and people mourning who have descended on the area, on the residential community, and even the crash site itself. And we have to reiterate, it is off limits to everybody except the first responders and investigators.
Health and wellness related vendors set up booths at the Station Mall on Saturday as part of the Sault Ste. Marie Chamber of Commerce's annual We Are the Sioux Health and Wellness Expo. The expo is one of the ways the COC raises awareness about not only who they are and what they do, but also of some of their members and the services they offer the community.
Well, we have those that are promoting a healthy lifestyle. So we have Lou here with Healthy Sioux, and that's about how you create wellness in your community and work together towards a healthy life. We've got Sioux College here as well, and VON, Achieve Fitness. So we have a wide variety of health and wellness based businesses.
A lot of our approach to healthcare and so on has been such that we've really been relying too much on treatment and not enough on prevention. And so I'm really trying to get people to wake up and to tell them that you can have a healthy future if you choose to live a healthy lifestyle, but you really can't have one without the other, right?
Yeah, we always get positive feedback, and again, things like the Healthy Sioux. They may not know that there's this campaign going on to make Sioux a healthier place to live. And that really creates some great awareness for our community, and also those small businesses. Some of them are home-based businesses, and that creates awareness in the general public as well.
It's like try to raise your awareness, try to become aware of the that the food industry is not our friend. That lots of people are running into health issues, and we've got an epidemic of type 2 diabetes. We've got all these things that are going on in society right now. So we really don't have a healthcare crisis, we have a self-care crisis.
Ontario MP Aaron O'Toole is expected to lay out his vision for the federal Conservative Party and why he's the one to run it in an online video being released today that officially kicks off his second attempt to become Conservative leader. The video will be posted while O'Toole meets with party members in the Conservative heartland of Alberta, whose fury at the federal Liberals saw that party shut out of winning a single seat in the province in the last federal election. But the failure of the Conservatives to shut the Liberals out of government entirely led to Andrew Scheer announcing last month he'll resign his post as party leader once his replacement is chosen. O'Toole finished third in the 2017 leadership race, his supporters effectively putting Scheer over the top to clinch the victory over Maxime Bernier. Bernier later left the Tories and formed the People's Party of Canada, but he failed to win even his own seat in the October election. Others who have officially announced their intention to run include two other Ontario MPs, Marilyn Gladue and Derek Sloan. According to a report from care providers who are urging Premier Doug Ford's government to increase spending to address the delays, wait times for children and youth mental health services have more than doubled in 2 years. The report from Children's Mental Health Ontario, released today by the association representing Ontario's publicly funded child and youth mental health centres, says that 28,000 children and youth are currently on wait lists for treatment across the province. The number is up from approximately 12,000 in 2017. Chief Executive Officer Kimberly Morin said rising rates of depression and anxiety among children and youth and years of underfunding have contributed to the rise in wait times. The report shows wait times for service can vary dramatically depending where in the province a child seeks treatment and on the care required. Waits can range from just days for mild issues to nearly 2.5 years for more complex behavioral interventions. The group calls on the government to live up to its spending commitments on mental health services, asking it to direct $150 million towards hiring frontline clinicians in the spring budget. The report also says if the province spent that money, it could quickly ramp up hiring for over 14,000 workers, and that would cut the average wait for care to around 30 days. The Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario has provided notice that it is engaging in a strike for one day on Thursday, January 30th. In the Algoma District School Board, the union represents all of the elementary and adult literacy and basic skills teaching staff, and all adult literacy and basic skills programs will be closed to students. All third-party licensed childcare operators before and after programs in ADSB will be permitted to remain open. However, check with your childcare operator directly to confirm. All community use of schools will continue. All continuing education and adult education credit classes will continue. Any scheduled school council meetings or school-based meetings, activities, and sports are canceled. Friday, January 31st is a previously scheduled professional development day, so students will not return to classes until Monday, February 3rd.
Scientific information about coronaviruses. These are spread by droplets on the whole. So these land in a certain distance, if you like. And so in a plane contact tracing perspective, we're looking at a 2-meter radius. So of course, we'll be looking at the plane and its seating plan and where that patient was actually seated in order to trace the people who are surrounding, or the passengers surrounding that.
Canada's Chief Public Health Officer says officials are trying to track down other passengers on a flight from China to Toronto in the wake of Canada's first case of the coronavirus. Dr. Teresa Tam said the man in his 50s, currently in stable condition in a Toronto hospital, showed mild symptoms on the flight.
The health system is on alert to detect potential cases and to respond promptly when they are confirmed. It shows that our systems are working. I want to impress upon everyone that although we now have a case in Canada, the risk to Canadians remains low. We are aware that the number of cases are increasing in China, but there are very few exported cases. Person-to-person spread has been reported in close contacts.
And he became ill, more ill, that he realized he needed medical support. In fact, followed all of the information provided at the airport. In fact, provided information to the first responders that he had recently returned from Wuhan. So the first responders were able to respond wearing protective gear and were able to alert the hospital to which he was being transported, Sunnybrook, that in fact the patient was indicating that he had returned from the area under question. So for me, that is a sign that the information at the border did actually percolate through to the patient and his family.
Approximately 150 Saultites laced up their walking shoes yesterday afternoon to take part in the annual IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's at White Pine Secondary School, raising almost $49,000 for the local Alzheimer's Society chapter. The IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's is Canada's biggest fundraiser for Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, and takes place in more than 400 communities across the country. In 2019, Canadians participating in the walk raised $6.2 million. These funds will go toward local programs and services that improve quality of life for people living with dementia and their families, as well as support awareness and education about dementia.
Today is the annual IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's, and this is our 22nd walk in support of the local Alzheimer's Society. The Alzheimer's Society, our chapter, needs to fundraise over $400,000 a year to keep our services going. So this is only one of the events that help with that. It's a fun day for the entire family. We have face painting, we have someone doing balloons today, we have a massage therapist doing neck and shoulder massages, and of course we have a lot of people coming and walking in the name of someone that has the disease or who has passed away from the disease. Well, it's so important because the people that walk into our office are able to get support, and they're better able to navigate the changes that they're going to be seeing in their loved one. Now, the services that we have are very grassroots. You can make an appointment with someone and you can get family counseling, support groups. There's Minds in Motion, there's education. I always say education is power.
The story began with my brother Robert Snooks, who worked here at White Pines and developed early onset type of dementia. Nobody knew what it was, and so I ended up finding the Alzheimer's Society to help us a lot. And that was just wonderful. And he lived, he started in his early 50s, and he lived until he was 69. So the Alzheimer's Society was our go-to place. He wasn't a senior, so nobody really wanted to look at him. They just thought he was misbehaving. So that was a wonderful experience. And before he passed away, 3 or 4 years ago, I developed a mild cognitive impairment with a risk of vascular disease, vascular dementia. Now I still seem to be staying the same. I'm happy with that. I've lost a bit of my spatial awareness and my understanding of things, but I love to volunteer for the Alzheimer's Society, and I love how they can help so many people.
I think it's an excellent event. I think it's a great organization. Obviously very important with our demographics in society. Our mother got diagnosed a couple of years ago, so I've got a very strong personal interest in it as well.
After having their home game against Espanola postponed due to inclement weather last Saturday, the Sioux Thunderbirds were back on the ice for the first time in a week as they took on the Sioux Eagles on Saturday night at the John Rhodes Community Centre. The Thunderbirds defeated the Eagles 7-5. Rory Caron struck twice yesterday, including the winner, as Sault Ste. Marie sank the Battalion 6-4. The work begins in earnest today for the Liberal minority government as the House of Commons opens for business after a lengthy winter break. The first piece of major legislation is expected to be a bill to ratify the new North American Free Trade Deal, as Canada is now the only one to hold out on the Trilateral Pact. The Liberals have asked the opposition parties to help get it passed quickly, but the NDP and Bloc Québécois are making no such guarantees, while the Conservatives say they're hoping for further study of its implications. The government is also sure to face a grilling over major issues that have developed in recent weeks. Among them are relations with Iran and the status of an investigation into what killed at least 57 Canadians on a flight leaving Tehran earlier this month. Looking ahead, the Liberal government is also expected to introduce legislation to ban military-style assault rifles and make what's sure to be a controversial decision on whether to allow a new oil sands project in Alberta to proceed.
Listen, you bring 10 gallons of flat eggshell or white paint.
The Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, there is hope and there is help. You matter. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The calls are free and confidential. Call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. You are not alone.
So we've got to the bottom of the issue, Luann.
Yes, we did.
Yes, it's a corrupt video file is what happened. When they exported the file.
I had a feeling about that video.
It was
I had a feeling.
Yeah, please, the United Way is not corrupt what their video file is. No, this was just they have to export the video again. So here's what's going to happen, folks. On Friday, Mike Delfrey and Michelle Cicchini and all of the people who got together to do this construction. The event is not coming up until later. This video that we did that you're going to see now on Friday is to encourage people to get involved and for the teams to join.
So we'll see both parts on Friday.
On Friday of this week, we're going to air both those interviews like we were going to do today. And instead, today, you did something. When I was on vacation, you did an interview.
I did.
About snowmobile safety.
Snowmobile safety, yeah. And it's so interesting because I had no idea how intricate it was. Like what streets, for instance, you can ride on with your snowmobile. And the police are very open to anybody who has questions. So this interview is going to really help with regulations and safety.
And January is Snowmobile Month, so it all works out very well. So we're going to air that today. And then, once again, Friday, the whole show will be dedicated to the United Way in Harvest Algoma with those two great interviews that we did, especially about the construction event.
He's doing such great work, Mike Delphi.
Mike is, he really is.
Oh my word.
And there's another thing in there now, it's called Rain, and I'll tell you more about it when they're ready to come on the air.
Ooh.
But it's very cool. They're actually creating, like from scratch, they're branding a hot sauce locally.
Really?
Yeah. I already spilled the beans, didn't I?
You did. Well, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, they were in there getting ready, and I heard of it, and I was like, I want you on the show. And they said, we're not ready yet. We're not camera ready yet. Give us some time. We're still working on their,
now you did
They're testing the product. But it's exciting. It's kind of like the chocolates and stuff. There's all this stuff going on. That they're doing for the Center for Justice and Good Works. They're going to come on the show next month also.
I bought tons of that chocolate for Christmas.
Did you?
Yeah, it's so good. Oh,
okay.
And it's made right here. It's so awesome.
There's a thing going on right now on Twitter. It's blowing up with the hashtag Bolton. I'm like, why Bolton? What's going on? So remember, Bolton was the guy. He quit, and he wanted to they subpoenaed him to testify, and Trump said you can't testify, and he's like, okay, I'm not going to testify. But now he says, I'm ready to testify. And the senators are saying, you had your chance when it was back in the House. He's like, well, no, I was told not to. Anyway, there's a manuscript, and the New York Times got a hold of it, and they leaked part of it. And apparently, this is supposedly true, that Trump told Bolton that the Ukraine aid was tied to the Biden investigation, the hold on the Ukraine aid, and now Trump is saying Bolton's a liar. How many times can he say that everybody else is lying and he's telling the truth?
You know what? How can he keep getting away with this?
Maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. Maybe they'll finally.
Oh, gosh. Stay tuned for that. That should be really interesting.
And stay tuned now for Snowmobile Safety with Luann and the OPP.
Me doing an interview just like the old days.
Just like the old days. We'll be back after this.
It's hunting season, so this is probably pretty stupid, right? Actually, hunting accidents kill somewhere around 2 people a year in Ontario. Smoking kills 16,000 a year. So, what's really stupid?
excited today because they let me out of the building for a change. We want to talk about snowmobiling because guess what? It's winter, in case you hadn't noticed. We want to talk about some regulations and some bylaws. Joining us and giving us his time, thankfully, is Ray Magnan with the City Police Department. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Good, good. Now, first, tell us about some bylaws in Sault Ste. Marie. One that I think a lot of people aren't clear about is, can I ride my sled in city limits? Because in some towns you can, right?
That's right. That's a great question. And normally the Highway Traffic Act allows you to operate the snow machines on a roadway. However, the city bylaw will limit which roads they're allowed on. So within the city of Sault Ste. Marie, there's a snowmobile map available online at the city site under bylaws, which basically the downtown core is prohibited from any snow machine, and the outlying areas are allowed, except for there are some roads which are prohibited. For example, Fourth Line is a prohibited roadway you can't be on. You can cross it, you just can't drive down it. But Third Line would be okay, and the outlying areas. There's also some certain streets within town that are prohibited that may be around that it's okay, but that specific street's not allowed. Again, the best way is to refer to the map online, so make sure you're in the right area where you should be. You can never be on the sidewalk. That's not allowed at any time. And again, when you're on the roadway, you have to be obeying the rules of the road as well. Now, with regards to, you mentioned that you can go down Third Line, but not Fourth Line. That's correct. So their Third Line, and you'll see that in the map, is allowed, that area, again, but Fourth Line is a specific road that's not allowed, and there are several of them on the bylaw that aren't allowed. That's just an example, one that you can't go, but you can cross it. The snowmobile trails within the city of Sault Ste. Marie, the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Trails in Sault Ste. Marie, you can go on those, and some of those cross roadways, and again, that's allowed. Now, what makes a street available to a sledder or not? I would have thought because Fourth Line is, further out from the city, that it would be accessible, but Third Line is and Fourth isn't. So where's the decision making there? That's left up to the city, and then a lot of these decisions were made a while ago. The map's been in place for a while. I can imagine Fourth Line being a lot of truck traffic on Fourth Line as well. I'm not sure why exactly. It's just that is the map. They're the ones, the legislators make the rules for us, and that's what's laid out. That may change sometime in the future, but right now that is what we have. And again, some of the streets that were allowed within the area had to do with a lot of complaints about snow machine activity, which was disturbing residents, so they disallowed some of those streets. But again, the best thing is to have that map, make a copy, carry it with you, so you make sure you're in the right, because you could be charged in the bylaw if you don't have it. Speaking of residential areas, that's a really good point that you made, because I guess it would depend on whether or not there's a lot of activity and whether or not the people mind it. Because there is a curfew. I had no idea. Yes. So, underneath this bylaw as well, the curfew is 11 p.m. to 8 a.m., which you're not allowed to be out during that time. Again, this is a quiet time. Most people are ready to head to bed or sleeping already. So, snow machines in the city of Sault Ste. Marie, that's a city bylaw. The curfew is 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. Now, do you guys have to police the groomed trails? Yes, we also do policing on the groomed trails in conjunction with us, and as well as the OPP, we do combined patrols. We also police Prince Township, so we'll be out there as well. And at different times, again, checking for vehicles or snow vehicles that are outside the area, or another Highway Traffic Act or motorized snow vehicle infractions, such as another common concern is loud mufflers. Mm-hmm. People are modifying the snow machine under the motorized snow vehicle Act. You cannot modify the muffler, and again, you could be charged with that. And the reason for that, obviously, is disturbing the residents in the area with loud mufflers. Now, with regards to other regulations when you're out sledding, a lot of them apply as they would to when you're driving your car, right? No drinking and driving. Exactly, a great point. All those rules apply. You can lose your license for being for a 3-day suspension if you had a warrant on a motorized snow vehicle, just like you would in your car. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Even though I'm operating a snow vehicle and I get stopped, it's my driver's license that will be suspended from my car. So you could be in a situation where you can't drive to work because you have a suspension. So the best case is no drinking and operating a motorized snow vehicle, and especially if you're a young driver as well, you have to have zero alcohol. So that's something in consideration. And we'll be out doing ride checks with our snowmobiles during the season as well. At times, we'll be set up at points where we can we'll be checking snowmobiles to make sure that nobody's drinking and driving. Now,
because there are some changes, some people are a little bit gray with regards to whether a police officer in your vehicle, in your motorized vehicle, can stop you and just randomly ask you for a breathalyzer test. Does that apply to sledding as well, or does an officer have to suspect that you've been drinking?
No, it applies to, because that's on the criminal code that demand comes from, and this is a motor vehicle, and the criminal code has a motor conveyance, so it does apply. All those rules apply for motorized snow vehicles as well.
Terrific. And you mentioned we can go to the city website or to the city police website?
For the bylaw, is on the city Sault Ste. Marie website under bylaws, and you'll see it's a snowmobile, and there's a link there for the map as well. It's a nice color map and shows exactly where you can be. It also shows the trail and the staging area, which is where we're at right now, where I can start off from and where I can go to access the trails properly. You don't want to be driving in the area that's not allowed. You have to trailer to a situation where you have a staging area, unless you happen to live in an area where it's allowed. Then you can obviously leave from your residence, but normally you'd have to come to the staging area. So that's all on that map. It's a great resource, and we're always available for questions at City Police as well.
Now, with regards to safety, one of the things that I'm sure bothers you is showing up to an accident where someone's badly hurt or there's a fatality. For an area like Sault Ste. Marie, do you feel like the education level is pretty high with regards to safety and sledding?
I think it is. There's some great programs in place. The licensing program for young people, 12, can get their motorized snow vehicle license where they can operate not on the roadways but on the trail system. Some good education there, and by all means get educated. And I think the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile does a great job of getting the message out there as well. Speed's a big concern with us, and that's something people should understand, that in the city where most roads are 50 kilometers, the max speed on a snowmobile is 20 kilometers. If the speed limit is 80 kilometers, then you can go 50 kilometers. But in town here, most of our speed limits are 50. So you have to obey the 20 kilometer when you're on the roadway. When you're on the trail system, there's speed limit signs on the trail system, which you have to obey as well. So speed's a concern because these machines get very fast. They're high performance these days, and that's always a concern. So you got to keep in mind, you have to be ready to take emergency action if somebody pulls in front of you. There's an obstruction on the roadway. So I would tell people to really monitor your speed. And then we already talked about alcohol. When you combine those two factors, that's usually where we see our serious collisions, when there's alcohol and speed or speed on its own.
And obviously use your common sense, like always have a helmet. Now this is the helmet that you guys use at the police station. Are there standards that we need to look at when we're buying a helmet?
Yeah, you want to look at the back. You have a DOT sticker on the back of the helmet, which you want to have. And most of the businesses here in town, they're more than set up to tell you the proper helmet to have.
Oh, awesome.
It's usually online. You got to be careful when you're ordering online. It could be helmets coming from China. They may not be the standard, but you go to a reputable dealer in town here, they're going to set you up with a proper helmet. And again, it has to be properly attached, has to be done up. If it's not done up, it's like not wearing it. So make sure you have it properly done up, and be properly equipped for the weather is an important condition as well. Because if you do have a breakdown, you want to make sure you're properly dressed, that you would have to be, away from home maybe a while before somebody would come and get you. And on that, when you are going out, make sure you tell people where you're going.
Yes.
Have a plan where you're going to be, so that if there is a problem, and it's happened many times, and there may not be cell coverage or your cell battery may go dead, and what helps us in our search when we go looking for you is they can have us say, yeah, this is where he or she said to you they were going, and that's a good starting point for us. So always tell people where you're going. The other thing, make sure you're properly equipped on the snowmobile as well. Have some matches, have some an axe, have something you can have to make yourself a little shelter if you're going to be there a while, that you're all set. So when the time comes you do have a breakdown, you're not going to be in a place where you can make a fire, you can make a shelter if you have to. So have those things on a first aid kit on your machine, properly equipped. And when you leave, have a full tank of gas, unless you're going very close around your residence.
I imagine too, it's like swimming, right? Sledding with a buddy is always better, but if you do go out, it's a good idea to adhere to everything you were talking about. I would imagine too, if you're thinking about buying a sled, that you can't alter them once you buy them, right?
Yeah, there's something like obviously for appearance and that kind of stuff, but yeah, you have to be careful when you start, especially like I was saying about the muffler, modifying and then the noise, and the Motorized Snow Vehicle Act is very clear on that. You can do it on your own property, but once you leave your property and get checked, you would face a fine for that, and that's becoming more and more common, unfortunately, and that's where we're getting a lot of our noise complaints, and there'll be a few making, giving everybody a bad reputation for the snowmobilers, because the majority of snowmobilers are safe. They're out there to have enjoy a good sport. So, but we have to think of others in terms of noise and where you're going as well. Trespassing, another common complaint. We got people make sure where you're going is an authorized trail, and if you're on somebody's property, make sure you have permission to be there. Because again, I've already started receiving some complaints in my office about people trespassing on property with motorized snow vehicles.
And if you're not sure, don't go.
Exactly, unless you have permission of that landowner. People are the impression this is their land. They have permission to be there. Just because there's a snowmobile trailer doesn't mean you're allowed to be there. And again, you could be charged with trespassing.
Well, thank you for taking such good care of us while we're out on our sleds.
No problem. We look forward to a safe snowmobiling season.
Appreciate your time, Ray.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this.
Home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room, create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
Angelo, it's me, Vito. Imbecile, your brother. Listen, you bring 10 gallons of flat eggshell white paint.
This past year, we've been celebrating our 65th anniversary, dating back to services originating in our community in 1954, which is quite some time ago. It's been a great opportunity this past year to recognize the pioneers, the stakeholders that worked tirelessly to create what we are today. I'm grateful for everything that the families 65 years ago and the people that assembled the organization have done in order for us to achieve the success that we're experiencing 65 years later.
This is ONNtv.
Have you ever wanted to be a member of our live studio audience? Okay, both of you. We don't really have a live studio audience here at the studio, but guess what? On Wednesday of this week, we're going to Feed Your Soul Cafe.
Yeah.
You hear about it all the time. We talk about Feed Your Soul Cafe. It's where Hogan's Homestead sells their maple syrup stuff. Anyway, 96 Whiteout Drive. We're on location live on Wednesday from 8 till 9 a.m. Stop by.
We're doing Bell Talks.
It's Bell Let's Talk.
Let's Talk.
And they're hosting it because they've got all... Anyway, it's going to be a great morning, and you're welcome to come by and sit at a table. Have a free coffee. There's free coffee, and you can buy your breakfast there and watch Luann and I live.
No spitballs, though, please.
No. Casey.
And thank you to Casey Security for sponsoring the show for us every morning. Have an awesome day.